Your home might be the biggest financial tool that you own, but most people treat it like furniture. Welcome back to Milesh and Sadie Property Talk Series 4, What Would You Do? I'm Milesh, a property developer, strategic advisor and founder of The Property Edge. I help investors, developers and business owners make better decisions when it comes to property, whether that's structuring deals, growing portfolios, solving challenges or creating long-term wealth.
And I'm Sadie. I'm the founder of Sadie Pizzey Interiors. We specialise in renovation and construction projects across the residential, commercial and developments.
So in this series, we're taking real scenarios and breaking down how we would approach them.
And today we're asking, should you turn your home into an investment asset? Making your home an investment opportunity is a tough one. I think it's as much on you as a person as to whether you should do it or not, actually, because no matter how it's set up or how you decide to do this, it's invasive. If you're going to go down the renting out part of your house, you really need to make sure that the changes that you're going to make are going to work for the property if you then decide to sell it at a later date. You don't want to end up carving out this space and sort of hacking it to pieces for it to then become these weird, like small, tiny spaces with no natural light, and it just really messing up the whole feel and flow of the house.
Yeah.
If you can do both and you are the right personality to cope with this, then I think it is an opportunity.
So I think there's a few scenarios here, right? Maybe we tackle them by scenario. So the first one is that you rent out part of your house.
Yes.
So that could just be having a lodger. So you're renting out a room.
Yes.
So from a design perspective, no major issue, no major change.
No major issue, although you're just renting out a room. But if there is a chance to make it an ensuite or something like that, then obviously the impact on the rest of your house is less.
100%. Yeah.
And also, if you're sort of thinking, oh, what room could we make that? If it's obviously obvious, but the bigger the space, the more you can create a sort of zone for them in that room.
What wisdom.
Thank you. And that's why they pay me the big bucks. But in all seriousness, if you've got like a sizable space and you can almost turn it into a kind of studio flat, then I'm not saying you're going to have a full kitchen, but if you could at least manage to have, kettle, microwave, all those sorts of things, it means that they're not going to be coming into the whole house as much.
I think you're right. I think the biggest overarching thing with all of this is how much of your personal space and life are you willing to compromise to try and make some money out of your dwelling, your living, your home.
Yes.
Right. So renting a room, annex, well, that's fairly self-explanatory in that obviously you need to build it if you haven't got one.
Yeah.
Then from a business perspective, I'd be saying, well, what is the ROI on that? If it's going to cost you 20 grand to do it, are you going to rent it out for X number of months, years to get that back?
And I would want to say, if you are just building this and it's just going to be a purpose-built annex, does the rest of the house warrant it? And the reason I say that is say it's a 2-bed small terrace property and then the extension you're putting on is a purpose-built annex, when you come to sell that house, it wouldn't make sense. Whereas, I'll give you an example of one we did last year, actually. We had already a really great 5-bed sizable property.
Right.
We were already extending into the loft, giving them another 2-bed. They went to the side, and at the side, they then created at the back this purpose annex. That made sense for the house because the house was already of a really good size. It was a great family house, and therefore it made sense to have this small annex on the side that could work for grandparents, could work for, the teenagers when they left home, all those sorts of things. And it wasn't sacrificing the rest of the home.
Okay. Yeah. So factor that in. Again, so the advantage of that is that if it's self-contained, then it doesn't disrupt your living element.
Yes.
But it's got to fit within the plot.
It's got to, really. Yeah, it has 100%. It's got to work within the demographic and the street and what is expected of that type of property. So if you've got a smaller property, I would say maybe don't look so much at an annex, but could you do a studio in the garden, something like that?
Yeah.
Because again, that gives you, they tend to be, they're still expensive to build, but they're not as significant. You are then completely separate from the property, and it then can easily have this double life, because it can also, it could be a gym, it could be an office, it could be anything like that. It makes more sense in a way.
Yeah, so you could future-proof it, because it can be used for multiple purposes down the road as well.
You need to work out, though, whether you've got any restrictions on your road about that.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Because I have come up a number of times with different clients who have got that there might be a covenant that they weren't sure about or something like that. And it's one thing to rent out a room, that's fine. But as soon as you start to build a purpose annex or a studio in the garden.
There's a few factors there, you're right. So one is around the legal aspect. The other is around the planning and building control element as well. And then the third thing is, if it is a self-contained unit, then you may run into separate council tax territory as well.
Oh, yeah.
So all of those three factors need to be considered before you go ahead. So yes, it will bring you income.
Yes.
And there'll be an investment element to your house, but just make sure due diligence.
Yeah, you need to do the numbers, because you do need to look at, like, how long do you think you're going to be renting this out? Because if this is just a window of 5 years, then it might not make sense to go to all of, warrant all of that building work. And the other thing is, if you are going to have this separate annex, you need to really be investing in, good sound insulation. Like you say, a separate entrance, making sure that the space has, you've included things like the kitchenettes. They've got enough lighting and electrical sockets and all of that, so that they really are self-sufficient. All of that has a cost.
Yeah, so I think those three key factors are massive.
Yeah.
Can I do it legally? Can I do it to current standard in terms of building regs? Building regs and planning? And the last one was, what does that mean from an ongoing cost perspective, i.e. council tax?
Yes.
So those three factors are really important, aren't they?
Yeah.
So shall I go a bit?
Yeah, go.
So I think for me, can the equity be working harder? And that sort of links to refinance a little bit.
Okay.
So could you refinance your property and maybe go and buy another property that's going to give you a better investment return than it would to rent out part of your house?
Yes.
So could your money be working harder for you if you went and did a separate investment property versus your own house?
Yeah. And for me, that also comes back down to personality, because I know for me, I wouldn't cope well with sharing my property, particularly, we've got small kids.
Yep.
I wouldn't want someone coming in. I would rather explore that avenue, like, let's look at the equity in the house and see if we took that out, what could we create?
Yeah. And could it be working harder
Yeah.
So again, if your mortgage rate is, 3% right now, and you refinanced it, could you invest that money in or out of property somewhere that's going to earn you 5%? And if that's, there's loads of factors there to consider, but could you take 100 grand out of your house and then go and invest it in something else that's going to deliver you a higher interest rate, a savings rate than your mortgage?
That is a kind of.
So that chucks a whole nother spanner in the works on what you want to think about before you give away some of your home. Because it is your home, right?
Yes.
You need to feel a certain way. I'm just sounding like you now. You need to feel a certain way in your house. You need to be happy to be there. The whole thing around entertaining and getting people over, all of those things are, if they're important to you, then it's going to have a big impact if you have another person or people coming into your property. So I think they're really important.
They are really important. And I think that comes back to the space planning of, if you have decided that this is the route that you're gonna go, and sometimes financially it's necessary, isn't it? I remember when I bought my first 2-bed flat, I couldn't afford the mortgage completely on my own, so the second bedroom had to be rented out.
Yeah.
And in that situation, it was fine. I was young, but we revisited it actually a bit later in life, and we at that point we already knew, okay, these are the things we'll need to put in this space. We need to make sure that it is going to be a room with an ensuite, because we don't want to be sharing a bathroom with effectively a stranger. We want to make sure that even though it's only going to be a bedroom, that there's plenty of storage, that we've got a TV, we've got enough things that are going to sort of make it as homely as possible for that person. And like I said, when I've worked with clients, we have particularly looked at the space to make sure that it is becoming its own mini home. And there's some incredible things on the market, like the kitchenettes that you get now. There are companies that it literally lifts in with everything in place. So it has, the sink, it has the fridge, it has the mini oven. The whole thing just slots in. They're very cost effective, and they don't take up very much space. Like you can get them from sort of 1,200 to 1,800 long. And it's all there in the room. And then again, that means that they are more self-contained.
Yeah.
And it just keeps that separation. It means that they can live their lives. You can live you're also going to get higher rent, aren't you? If you're saying here's this self-contained space.
Exactly. People
much prefer that. They don't want to be coming in and sharing a house or a flat. So it's thinking about all of those things.
Yeah, I did it. My first property that I bought to live in was a 2-bed, 2-bath flat.
Yeah.
And I had a lodger.
Yeah.
So I had my own ensuite in my bedroom, and then he had access to the main bathroom.
Yes.
So it kind of worked quite well.
Yeah.
Sharing a kitchen was a bit odd, but I didn't really cook that much.
No, and I was going to say, I think at different stages in your life, it works differently. I mean, lots of people visit it when they're young, don't they? It works well. You're not in the house, the property so much. It doesn't matter. You haven't got children or anything like that. And then I know a lot of people will revisit it maybe once the kids have left, because they've then got these empty rooms.
Yep.
They can look at, potentially bringing in a bit more income as they want to scale back their work. So it's not a bad idea. But I also think you don't need to have a full-time permanent lodger. There are different ways. We have friends, we live near 2 big theatres, and they just have actors who come and stay when they're doing a theatre run. So that means that they can pick and choose the weeks that they want to have people and when they don't. So I think, again, it's really being clear as to what you want, what the impact's going to look like for you, and carving it to fit your life.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say 2 more things. So we both know a person who homeschools his children and goes abroad quite often.
Yeah.
And then they'll Airbnb their house.
Yeah.
So that is creating an investment out of your home.
Yeah.
Actually, you're not there.
No.
And it's making money for you whilst you're not there.
Yeah.
So that's another spin on it, another angle.
And actually, that is really clever. That has just made me think, though, actually what makes it successful is systems again. So even though you think, well, it's just a space in my house. Actually, when I spoke to our friend, he has systems where everything stores, because you have to virtually empty out your house so that, people can come in and move in with all their stuff. So it has to be this system of how does everything move around a house so that it's then ready quickly and effectively for the new people to come in. That's the same as if you're going to do sort of week-to-week rentals. You have to have a system to make it work, make it efficient, and make sure that it doesn't impact your life too much.
Yeah. 100%.
So it's still a business.
Yeah.
It's not just this is just a bit of fun on the side. You still have to think it through and make it work.
Yeah, I think, it can work. There's so many different ways. It's about that compromise and what you're willing to compromise. I think the other left field thing here, right, is should you move to rented to release more capital?
Oh, I hate this idea.
But hear me out.
I'm going to hear you out.
The listeners want to hear now.
They
the
might
suspense. Not. So there's a theory that says actually to unlock the maximum capital that you have, usually it's locked into your house, right?
Yes.
So should you sell your house completely, realize that capital, invest it, and live in rented accommodation for good?
Forever?
We are obsessed with ownership in the UK, right?
We are.
Europe isn't, as an example.
No, I know they're not.
So actually, if you're sat on a few $100,000 in your house, like how's it serving you?
Well, Okay, well, I'm going to do the flip side of this. It's because when you own a property, you can completely create it and make it your own. And don't get me wrong, I know that when you have a rental, there are things that you can do, but there are restrictions. And so you can't be, I mean, I would never, ever buy a house that was done anyway, because I want to be able to carve it up and completely bash it around until it is completely what we want. You can never do that with a rental. And so you are therefore living permanently in a compromised life. I mean, there's no other way of saying it. It's just a massive compromise.
Well, you could find the dream house that you're paying every month in rental
How
for.
much rent are you paying for that, though?
Well, it doesn't matter. If your money's working hard enough for you because you sold your house, then happy days, right? And if something goes wrong, you just call your landlord.
Yes, okay, I hear what you're saying.
It's out there.
It's out
I
there.
accept.
But
it's not. It's
for everyone.
not to be ruled out.
It's
not for everyone.
It's not for everyone, because I want to say, again, I think it is a personality thing, because I know fundamentally, if that was me as an interior designer, I would be miserable in a rental, because I love the fact that I own my own house and I can do whatever I want with that house, and I can chop and change it. And, you know, if in a few years we've kind of changed how we feel or the kids have grown, we can, you know, rehash it about. But we cannot do that in a rental. And even thinking about it just brings tears.
What if you've got a client?
eyes.
What if you've got a client that you've done the work for, and then they're like, "We want to rent this out for like 3 or 4 or 5 years."
I mean, it's their decision.
Kills your interior design thing.
It's their decision.
Because you've already done it yourself.
But the only thing I'll say is, I guess I've actually improved their ROI for them, haven't I? Because they're going to get a lot higher rent.
You're going to be paying it if you move in. But your design argument goes away. Next.
No, I still don't like the idea. I just really like that I live in my own home. And there's something about the ownership of when people come round and we can say, and they go, "Oh, I like what you've done there." Yeah, what we've done there. Not what we've just bought this show home and this, well, not even bought it. We're renting a show home and we never get to live in our own house. Oh, it's so sad.
I'm purposely being annoying just to labour the
Would you
point
do it,
that it is an
Milesh?
option. We looked at it. Yeah.
I know. Would you? But you were both happy.
But we
Yeah.
couldn't. The challenge we had, we couldn't find anywhere suitable
Okay.
to rent and for long term. So that was a challenge. So it's not easy,
No.
and it does go against the grain of
And also you
general UK kind of attitudes
Yeah.
around ownership. But I do equally know a few people who are doing it, and actually they're going much harder in the property world and other investments and stuff.
Well, good for them.
Yeah.
But you have no control. If the landlord decides to sell, you're out, and then you've got to find your next rental.
Yep. Well, that's a risk, right?
Yeah, it is a risk. It's all down to personality. It goes.
And
back
this is
to
it. So
the
I think
same.
that's the summary, is that it really depends on what you're willing to compromise within your own home. And the other bit we haven't talked about, which I'll very quickly do, is people who are specifically buying properties to do up and then move to the next one to do up. That is an investment strategy in itself. PPR, primary principal residence.
Oh, I didn't know it had a little funky thing.
Yeah,
about
so
it.
if you own your own house, it's your primary principal residence. And if you're buying something that's run down, then you can add the value to it, and then you go and buy the next one that's run down. You don't pay any capital gains. You pay residential stamp duty because you're physically living there. So actually, it's a pretty good property investment strategy if you're willing to compromise on your day-to-day and that home feeling.
Yes, and actually, again, we did that when we were young, because at that point we, it was fine. It was we had the energy. We didn't have any kids. But what we did find was when we got to a house now, we were like, we just couldn't do it with the kids again.
Yeah.
So it might be a strategy that you do maybe earlier or again later once you've, the kids have flown the nest.
Yeah.
But we've seen developer friends do it with families, and that is
Same.
a tough slog, I think.
Yeah. But they do really well at
Yeah,
it
they
from
do.
a financial perspective.
They do. And we
So-
have, 100%, if you get it right. And then you are still, the design is still then massively important, because actually that is how you're getting your ROI. We certainly did, by just making each house incredible. We smashed ceiling price each time, and then we could move up
Brilliant.
significantly.
Exactly.
We are going to do our very exciting hot seat. So just to recap, we now have a section where you can write in with any property dilemma and we will try and answer it as best as possible. So this week, I will read it out. We have got 200k equity and spare income. Do we raise funds to invest or keep the house mortgage low? Oh, that is a really good one, actually, because it's so easy. I know lots of friends who, if they ever get like a bonus or whatever, they just chunk it off the mortgage.
Yeah.
Because for them, like the ultimate goal is to not have a mortgage. What is your take on that, Milesh?
It's really interesting. I think life stage is really important here, and what your goals, desires are. So it links back to strategy and planning, not business planning, but planning, like life planning.
Life planning.
And understanding what makes you tick, what you actually want, and all that type of thing. So risk appetite is massive.
Yeah.
So in some ways, so I always argue to people, what's the rush in paying your mortgage off?
Okay.
Because you're going to be sat on a whole load of equity that you can do nothing with.
Yeah.
So if you're in your later stages of life, then the hassle factor of making a lump of money work for you is going to be quite high if you want to start winding down and think about retirement and all that sort of stuff. So it's probably a no in that scenario. But if you've got a bit left in your career and you've got a bit of time, then actually it's doable.
Okay.
It does really depend on your life stage and your appetite to risk.
Yeah.
Because as we said before, if you do pull out that 200 grand, if your mortgage is, I don't know, 3 or 4%, if you know that you can go and earn 5s or 6s or beyond from a percentage return perspective, then absolutely, why wouldn't you do it?
Okay. But there comes a point where that mortgage has got to be paid off.
Yeah.
You just make as much money until...
If you've made your equity work harder,
Yeah.
your equity still remains. So then you can choose to pay it off as and when you want.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So you can position it and structure it however you want. So if it's 200 grand and you're going to go away and get 10%, that's 20 grand a year you're making, right? So you could say, okay, well, 10 grand I'm going to pay off my mortgage every year.
Yeah.
And 10 grand I've got excess.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go on 10 grand's worth of holidays that year. You still got your 200k as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So
sounds good.
Yeah, that's you can chop and change that depending on what you want from it and what you need from it.
But if you are someone who is really risk averse, that's
don't do it.
Don't do it. Okay, because it's really tough.
Yeah, it is situation dependent. It's life stage dependent.
Yeah.
Risk dependent.
Yeah.
And so all of those things, it goes back to what do you actually want from life? Have you got the time capacity to think about it? Because it's a first world problem, right?
Yeah.
Having a lump of cash in your bank account and trying to make it work hard for you is hard. It's a job.
Yeah.
So you got to be prepared for that.
Yeah. Hope that helped.
So the question isn't just can your home be an asset, it's whether it should be.
And whether it still feels like a home once you have made those decisions.
That balance is where most people get it wrong.
If you're considering changes to your home or you want to get the balance right, then from a design and practical perspective, we are always happy to talk.
And if you're thinking more strategically about your property, how to structure things financially or grow your position, feel free to reach out.
And if you've enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you've got a question for the hot seat, then leave it below in the comments and follow us on social media. And we'll see you in the next episode.